Welcome back to Beautiful Souls, to the next installment of What If Naofumi Was a Demigod. I apologize, this is a couple months late. Haven't been feeling well towards the beginning of the year. I started getting really sick. Not to the point to where I couldn't work, but my voice just kept cracking, and I still have a little bit of sore throat from allergies. I hate juniper pollen, and it finally stopped holiday, so my throat and sinuses have recovered a little bit. So my apologies about that, but I did record this video and the What If Naruto Was a Hybrid Saiyan last month, but both of them I wasn't feeling too good on. And then when I finally started feeling better last week, I couldn't find my notebooks with the pre-scripted, so I had to re-script this episode and the next episode of What If Naruto Was a Hybrid Saiyan. That episode will be coming out sometime this week. Hopefully it'll be out Sunday. And again, I wanted to apologize for that. So, where we last left off this series, and by the way, welcome back to Beautiful Souls. Naofumi had basically drugged the woman who had a strange magic around her. And at first, I wanted to explain more about that. Because of Naofumi, because of who his father is, he's quite a bit stronger than your average demigod. Let's use one of the most famous demigods of all time, Hercules. If Hercules is a 10, it would be, as far as like demigod rankings go. If we'll put Hercules at a 6, that would make Naofumi a 10. If we put Hercules at 10, that would make Naofumi like a 14. So he's damn near as strong as a god, but he's still a mortal. Because of who his divine parent is, he's really strong. He's OP for the Shield Hero universe. Simply put, because he can use his birthrights, which is a weapon, and I say that in quotation marks. In his divine birthright is basically he uses like his soul, like his weapons are tied directly to his soul, so they're a part of his actual being. They're not normal weapons. They're magical. They're created through magic and godly powers. So that's why he can still use his battle axe. And one person commented that battle axes are two-handers. It's like, no, a battle axe is a style of axe. It's a two-sided axe. And that can either be one-handed or a great battle axe, which is what you were thinking of, which is a two-hander. But a battle axe has is double-bladed. It has two sides to the head. That's what a battle axe is. And then there are some iterations of a battle axe that have a blade that loops around from one side to the other side, and it's only a one-sided axe, but there's a spike on the other side. The style of battle axe that Naofumi has is a double-bladed. If you were to cut it down the center, it would have two identical parts. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. So this is part one. the Tanuki and God. I couldn't think of a clever title for this, and I lost the notebook from before that had the already put down one. So, with all that being said, now Fumi basically confronting this woman and asking what the heck she is. She's a demi-dragon. She's not a demi-human, just like Naofumi. He's not a demi-human, he's something else. He's a demigod. And demi-dragons, they're not demi-humans like they are in the Shield Hero universe. By definition, Naofumi and this woman would be considered a demi-human, but they're different than normal demi. And you'll find out why about the woman later on. So Naofumi he's in the forest. The woman had left, and he is there. Sure, and Raftalia kind of like after a while of them like Naofumi did hunt, and he set up a campsite when because he thought it'd probably be best if he didn't stay in the capital tonight. She's looking at him and then looking at like the stew he's making, and then she looks back at him and he says, "Be a couple of minutes, Raftalia, and sorry about earlier. Here, drink this. This will help restore some of the damage that was caused." Raftalia grabs the potion that Naofumi hands to her and drinks it. And she immediately feels like the burning sensation that was in her eyes. And she's like, "Naofumi, why are you giving me such a thing? You got hurt because of me. People that don't have certain types of magic, their vision can be harmed when I go into my God, actually, what would I call that, really? Because it's me, it's my base form, but it's not at the same... Well, the thing where my halo spawns and everything, it can... If people have a certain level, I'm guessing in this world, in my world, if they didn't have magic, it could blind some people. So you got hurt, and well, I look at you now as my little sister. It's weird. Sorry if things don't. If you staying with me, you're gonna get hurt again. I would never abandon you, Naofumi. It's fine. Just here, eat. And Raftalia like passes out after a while, and Naofumi's like, "Good, okay, now it's time to get her leveled. Party system works. Okay, 100 meter. Then gain XP still. Okay, well, that works out. Well, she's going to need some equipment. So tomorrow I guess we should go to the blacksmith. Before I get some sleep, let me do this real quick." And Naofumi, he pulls out his scythe, and he creates a circle. He creates two circles with about a 4-inch diameter difference. So a bigger circle, and then another circle, and then he uses the tip of the scythe to create certain symbols with inside the section in between the two circles. And as soon as he's done, he takes the scythe and he cuts his hand, and he drops a few blood on the circle. Yes, this is a freaking magic circle. And it's like, for the by my blood, blood of the ancestors, the blood of the gods, protect this area for the time that I'm asleep. And he steps inside the circle, and immediately a weird light is shown, like a weird shimmer is shown in a bubble in the area. And now Fumi finally lays down and actually sleeps. Basically, this will it's a protection, a circle of protection that will protect those within it from from sunset to sunrise. And this doesn't really work in daylight. Like, it doesn't happen during the daytime. It's only works at night, and it's something that now Fumi discovered he could do when he was younger. Because of a certain family member asked him why he doesn't create a protection circle. Story for another time. So in the morning, Raftalia wakes up first, and she sees Naofumi sleeping, and she slowly grabs like some wood. She goes outside of the little camping area to like grab some like twigs and stuff to like get a fire started. To cook something, because now Fumi's usually cooks, and she wants to make something with what they have, like a few of the leftovers that they have from the night before. She wants to preheat them, so that now Fumi, when he wakes up, he has something warm to eat. As she's doing this, she's attacked. Like, she starts hearing like crunch, crunch, crunch behind her. And before she can react, she's attacked by an animal. And she screams out. All of a sudden, the animal is kind of split in half. And blood is splurting onto Raftalia, and she's like, Ruby, what's that? And Raftalia is just looking at this deer monster, when its body just falls over, and there's an axe that seems like it's made out of a weird metal. It's glowing, and there's flames coming off of it. Now Fumi walks past Raftalia, picks up the axe, and puts it on his back, and the axe just disappears. And he looks down at Raftalia, pulls out like cloth and wipes her face off, and he's like, well, if you would have seen that sooner or later. It's my birthright. Damn bastard. Only thing that freaking bastard ever gave me, except for my blood. I can summon weapons. At the moment, I have a scythe, and, well, I don't really like using that. Like that, I only use against demons. Or things that attacked my family. Axes, I threw it out of reflex. Sorry about that. As he picks her up, and carries her over to the stream and then just drops her and you hear a splash. Raftalia's like, Naofumi, what? You've got blood on you. We're going to be going into town. We need to get you some equipment that will actually suffice. By the end of the day, we're going to have you at a good level. Now, Fumi, what's your level? Honestly, I don't know. I haven't been paying attention to that. I've just been killing, surviving, and collecting materials so that in case the wave comes, at least I can heal my party. Because from what the system says, the shield is supposed to block attacks for the other cardinal heroes, but well, those guys, they're kind of dicks, and honestly, I will sword hero and the bow hero, I may save them, but the spear hero, yeah, screw that guy, he's a dick. That bitch is with him. Now, Fumi, that brings up what I... As Raftalia is coming out of the street, and naked, Naofumi, like, pulls out, like, out of his inventory some clothes. And Raftalia's like, these are really nice, are you sure? Go ahead, Raftalia, they're yours. I specifically crafted them for you. So she puts on the new clothes and she's like, okay, now here's some food. We eat now because we probably won't be able to eat until the afternoon. We're going to be fighting. If you're going to stay next to me, you've got to level up. So on the way, Naofumi is just knocking like a few monsters come at an attack, and Naofumi just kind of punches, like just yeets them away, like punting them. Like one of the rabbit monsters come and jumps at like Raftalia, Naofumi just kicks it and it goes flying off into the distance. So by the time they get to they get back into town, Raptalia's already gained a level. Because Naofumi is such a high level compared to the area that they're in, what I said in episode 1, Naofumi was kind of grinding. He was grinding. He killed a lot of monsters and got a lot of materials. Like I said, he crafted 5 potions of disease cure, and he crafted 8 potions of healing. Sorry about that. So they get into town, and he actually asks about. Yeah, I did have him go to the blacks. Yep, I did have him do that. So he heads over to the blacksmith, and the blacksmith says, "Oh, shield hero, what brings you back here?" And he kind of motions to his leg, and Raftalia is just sitting there behind Naofumi, and he's like, "Oh, you have a party member?" "Yeah, I kind of bought her from the slaver." "Huh, you got a slave. I didn't think you were the type of person for that." "Now, Sir Shield Hero." Yeah, whatever. In any case, I'm here to get her a sword for now, and another sword for later. Also, do you have ore that you could make custom armor from? Well, my supply of iron and coal is pretty low. I can get the coal fairly easily, but since the last wave, there's been a mix-up at the mines of the town that usually, because of monsters in the mines, they are unable to provide as much iron as they usually do. Now, there are other ores in that mine that would be better for gear if you wanted to make magically enchanted armor, but that's pretty rare. These blades, he pulls out like a few blades, and he Naofumi motions to Raphtalia to like pick them up, and she picks them up, and Naofumi's like, "No, it's too weighted on the end when you hold it." How about? And he picks it up, and he goes, "Ow, here. What was that?" Yeah, apparently because I'm the shield hero, I can't use weapons, but no, I'm not gonna do that. Let's scratch that bit out a little bit. Alright, gone. So, Naofumi, he ends up getting a small short sword for Raphtalia for now. And then he also gets a sword that's similar, that looks kind of like a katana, but it's not called a katana. He's like, that might be. So he ends up. Then he asks the blacksmith, "So how much for all of this?" And the blacksmith's like, "The short sword's low grade. The Zilvilder is pretty good quality, so 30 silvers for the both of them." And Raptai's like, "Master, that's too much. You can't be spending that on me." Naofumi kind of glares at Raphtalia, and he hands over the 30 silver to the blacksmith, and he also gives the blacksmith his measurements and everything. Because Naofumi is wanting some armor crafted just to kind of reinforce the already insane defense that he has. So then he turns to the blacksmith and he's like, "So where would this town be in any case?" And the blacksmith pulls out a map and marks it down, and then he hands the map to Naofumi. Naofumi opens it, looks at it, and he's like, "I've been looking for something like this. Here." And he pulls out like another 5 silver, and Black's just like, "Oh, no." And Naofumi's like, "I insist. I don't like owing people anything." So the blacksmith begrudgingly accepts the silver. So on their journey to the mining town that they go to in the episode after the second wave, he'll actually be visiting now. Now, on the way, Naofumi is just mowing through monsters one after another. About halfway through, Raphtalia's actually leveled up quite a bit, and she has gotten over her fear of blood, because Naofumi has hurt her in her sleep, had her nightmares and everything, and he slowly talks with her and explains a little bit more about what he had to do to survive himself. Killing wild animals and killing demons that have attacked him. Raphtalia is horrified by this, and after a couple of days, after another day of travel, Raphtalia kind of opens up and explains that in the last wave, her parents were killed by a 3-headed demon dog. And Naofumi's like, Is that why you scream out in your sleep? And Raftalia turns a little bit red. No, he's like, don't worry about it, Raftalia. Like I said, I'll protect you. But just in case, you might want to swing your sword that way right now. What? And as she does, like one of the stronger rabbit monster was at the end of her sword, and Naofumi is like, "See, you got to learn how to fight, and you let your guard down." Now, like Rafalia rolls her eyes and pulls her blade out of the rabbit's skull and wipes it like on her pants leg. And she picks the rabbit up and hands it to Naofumi, who proceeds to feed the whole thing to his shield. Naofumi's level is already maxed out. Is already at the max level. I think before your first class upgrade, it's level 40 or 30. Well, whatever the max level is, Naofumi has already reached that, and he killed a lot. He even went a little bit further away from the capital into like the woods. Miles, and I mean miles into the woods, like the first few days that he was there. And so Reptalia, she's going to be, by the time they get to the mining town, she's actually going to be close to level 20. She's going to be about level 17, 18-ish. I mean, yes, that's really strong for the area going to be in. So as they get to town, Naofumi makes his way to like the merchant's area, and he pulls out all the materials that he had collected that he's not going to be saving for the autocraft functions of his shield. So he's talking to him, and he's like, "Well, all of this, I don't have much money, sir, and I can't pay for everything, but." The merchant grabs a small section. I can give you 100 silvers for... I can give you about 50 silvers for this lot. Now Fumi just kind of shoves the rest and grabs the pouch of money. The merchant looks at Naofumi and he's like, well, thank you, sirs. Thank you. Thank you... Naofumi Iwatani, Shield Hero. Thank you, Sir Shield Hero. Thank you. And don't worry, those rumors about you, most of us here in this town think it's a bald-faced lie because, well, no, Mark doesn't like the shield because of Three Heroes Church. And so, Naofumi heads out. And they collect a pickaxe, and they get like a couple of pickaxes, and Naofumi puts them into like his item, like his item bag, and they make their way into the dungeon. Raftalia is a little weary. Naofumi's like, "What's wrong, Raftalia?" There's monsters in here. Well, we already knew that. The blacksmith told us that. But there's a lot. Now, Fumi, are you sure you'll be able to handle this? And now Fumi kind of grabs her by her shoulder, like her shoulder and her head, and just kind of gives her a nudge. He's like, "That's what you're here for." So they make it away. They kill a lot of monsters on their way deeper into the mines. And they've gotten a decent haul of ore. But then they come to an open cavern. Now Fumi sees it. He sees a blue glowing ore. He's like, "Jackpot! Magical ore!" So they begin to mine the ore. But then Raftalia freezes in place, and Naofumi looks at her. And he's like, "What's wrong, Riftalia?" Oh. And Naofumi bats it away, and he's like, "Oh, this. It's fine, Riftalia. You can get out of here if you need to." She's just stuck there. The dog bites down onto Naofumi's shoulder, and he yells out, "Raftalia, get out of here now! This thing's clearly a higher level than you, and I can't." But before he can finish his words, he just hears, "No! Not again!" And as Naofumi looks back, he sees Raftalia's like her the fur on like her neck and like her head and her ears, her Tanuki like fur is like just in her tail. All the fur is standing up in just a pure, vengeful look on her face as she's running at this two-headed demon dog. As she says, "Sorry!" As she jumps up, she comes down onto like one of the demon dog's heads and basically puts her sword right through its eye socket. Naofumi smiles and he reaches to his back, pulls off his battle axe. Well, basically summoning it. Doesn't need to do the motion, but just reflex. He kind of keeps it there in combat situations. Pulls it off and then just proceeds to lop the other head that was munched down on his shoulder's head off. Demon Dog drops and Draftalia is standing there, just breathing with her sword right in the dog's eye, just constantly jabbing it and jabbing it and jabbing it. It's like, "You won't take another person from it! No! No! No!" Naofumi walks over to her and puts his hands on her shoulder and says, "Raftalia, it's dead." "Sorry, Naofumi, it reminded me of..." I know, as he pulls her in for a hug. "Well, more and more monsters." So he takes his axe and he quickly slices the dog up into smaller parts that are manageable, and he proceeds to feed the whole thing to a shield. And he unlocks a new shield. Two-headed demon dog shield. And he's like, that's interesting. But then he notices something else. Another shield that's tree that's kind of glitching out, and it's glitching, and then he's like, "That's weird. I'm gonna have to look at that a little bit longer." "Raftalia, you can just sit there and rest. I'll finish mining up the sword and we can get out of here." So as Naofumi and Raftalia are leaving, they hear a few more howls, and Naofumi's like, "Wait, that's 1, 2, 10? No, wait, there's 30 of them! Raftalia, get behind me now!" Raftalia's like, "What's going on? You don't hear that?" And then Raftalia, her ears perk up and move around. She's like, "Monsters, a lot of them. Like I said, get behind me right now!" As he jumps and blocks like a claw from one of the dogs. He's like, "Bastards!" And Raftalia just sees wings starting to sprout from his back, and then his halo starts appearing. And then Reptalia sees it. She sees a pole form on Naofumi's back. He slowly grabs it, and then she sees it. She sees the faint outline of what looks like a scythe. And she just sees Naofumi just as he slices like these dogs, as soon as he slices one of the dogs down the center, one head on each side of the body, like it just slowly starts disintegrating. And after a couple of minutes of Naofumi bashing these things back and killing these things, he kills about 30 of them. He's breathing and he has blood all over. And he's like, and the scythe just disappears, and he looks down at his hand. It's like, guess I used a little too much magic. Whew. Reptalia, you still got that potion of restoration I gave you? Could you really use it? She quickly runs over to Naofumi in shock and hands him the potion. And with that, you beautiful souls, I'm going to end this part here. I know this isn't as good as the last parts, but I'm trying to keep these episodes around 30 minutes. That way, you can actually listen to the whole thing in one sitting. A few of you said that you can't really watch the whole thing at one time. So that being said, I will see you beautiful souls in the next video. Like, comment, subscribe, and a link to the Discord will be in the description of the video. That being said, see you in the next video.